Cool. So I'm Daniel, 25 years old, currently a marketing manager at a security firm, and this is my story. I like to call it between just myself and the journey I'm on. It's basically from couch to cover, and I'll open up about that the more we delve into this story.
Maybe you can give us some context about, I guess, the couch and how your journey has sort of begun.
So the couch, I call it a challenge. Started way back in high school, and it's been with me through my varsity years. And last year, June, the challenge was I was always overweight. I'd reached a weight of 135 kgs, and the moment hit me hard when I was getting ready for work one day, and it was a Friday morning, and it was in June, and I remember it clearly because I was putting on a different type of shoe. It had shoelaces. I normally have my work shoes that are slip-ons, and I needed to tie the shoelace, and I couldn't bend down and get there. And I was so overweight. I was always told through my life that I was big boned, I was tall, I could carry it all right, and that day I decided that there was something wrong. There was definitely that I needed to have a change in myself. I was hiding behind the weight I was carrying.
What was the emotion you were feeling, when there was that realization that a task so simple as tying your shoelaces is just not easily possible?
I think the emotional part about being overweight is there's so many things around you. You find that you're not confident. You cover yourself in clothes. You buy bigger clothes. The smaller the clothes get, you just replace them with bigger clothes. There's always that option. You tend to find ways of hiding it. I hadn't taken off my shirt in public since high school when we were doing swimming galas. I think you're embarrassed. My fiance, I have my fiance now. I was always embarrassed. I wanted, when I had to get dressed or anything like that, it had to be in the dark. It was not so much light and everything like that. So it was embarrassing. It was very difficult to handle. You struggle to walk upstairs. You coughed. I'm asthmatic, so I struggled to breathe. I used to get woken up during the evenings, take my asthma pump 3-4 times. Get woken up saying you're breathing too loudly, keep quiet, and it was just a daily struggle that I had, daily routines, things that struggled. And it's confidence. You tend to go on functions, you go on events, you're struggling to move stuff, you're sweating a lot, and it's just the entire insecurity of being overweight, being in that position. And it was never easy to pass that. I never found a way to get out of it. I was stuck in it, and the insecurity at that time when I couldn't tie my shoelace, something as basic as that, shocked me. I came to the realization that I needed to do something about it.
You mentioned sort of, the fact that you would buy bigger clothes, to hide, behind the weight. But what are some of the things that you were telling yourself? What are some of the things that you were allowing yourself to believe that maintained the weight?
Purely what I was told. I was always taught. It ran in my family. My entire family is, if not unhealthy, overweight. You could say it was a love of food. We were a family that just loved food, but I later looked into it and was more emotional eating. I looked to food as my way of escaping from stress, from difficult times. I still do, and it's still my kryptonite, if you want to say. But the difference between now and then was I know it's a way of escaping for me. I didn't know back then, so I couldn't control it. I couldn't find a different route out. So being overweight, I was still eating, trying to hide it. And I was always around people that pretty much didn't really push me in the right direction. I I had friends that, with me hiding behind the clothes, didn't really see the real me. They didn't see the real Daniel in terms of the naked Daniel. They didn't see the naked Daniel. They saw another Daniel, which they still see today, but just with smaller clothes. And I guess that I was always told, no, you're tall, you're really, really tall. I was always told in high school, no, you're tall, you're going to be taller, you're big boned like your mom. And yeah, just simply, I never took it seriously. I never had that moment where other people have that had gone on a similar journey, that they had a medical issue. They were told by the doctor, you need to do something. I had a moment of simple, basic thing. I couldn't tie my shoelace, and that scared me. That was my scary factor. So not to realize that I was overweight and hiding behind the clothes was because I was told, no, you're a tall guy. I hit it well. I was always growing up being the bigger guy. And I think being in a relationship also kind of sidelined my health. Wasn't out there to impress anyone. I didn't have to look good. And that was actually quite wrong. I had to look good, because looking good, there's meaning I'm healthy. And I was never really worried about what I weighed, how I looked, how I felt, because I had the love of my life next to me and everything like that. And I guess I became very comfortable. So apart from the clothes, being told that you're okay, I guess it was a subtle negative that I needed to maybe look past myself. And that became the part where I couldn't tie my shoelace, and how that was the couch for me, sitting on the couch doing nothing about it. And when you read up about people, obesity and everything like that, it's sometimes the biggest killer in certain countries. And that scares me, that we don't make it a thing, that we only have one body and we need to look after it. And being on this journey, I've learnt different ways of how to look after it, but also balancing. So yeah, so definitely being told that I'm okay in terms of my height and my bone structure, that now the weight will fall off. Well, I was 24 and it still hadn't fallen off.
You speak about your your fiance, and a bit about some of the things that being in a relationship allowed you to do. But maybe you can tell us a bit more about what was the emotional, maybe mental aspect of being in an intimate relationship and having to deal with that way. What were some of the things that you were feeling? What were some of the things that you were going through with your partner?
I think it was just simply being embarrassed. Not deciding certain things. So like, I didn't take my shirt off. I didn't want to. Being big, I was so big that I was bigger than her. I was in certain areas, and that was just so off-putting. It didn't. Our love life dropped completely over the last 2 years in terms of me being bigger and bigger, because we started dating in second year, and even though I was about 110, I got to 125, and between 125 and 135, it just got worse. And I think the strain that it put on me personally, luckily enough, she's not that type of person to look beyond looks. She always kept on saying, it's you I'm marrying, not your outside you. And even though that was there, it was still not. No one will ever feel like that, And she's still a third of my size, but that's what scared me. It was just that I was not physically attractive. My performance, my confidence was at an all-time low. And I think I don't know if anyone ever been there, but 131, 132, pushing 135, that's a weight that's scary, depending on what size you are, and actually what's your structure. And I think, from putting on that strain on a relationship, Marissa, who's my fiance, she was asked literally by a person I never met, why are you with him? He's so fat and ugly. And she just simply said, that's not why I'm with him. But that affected me then, you know, it still did. It was like, okay, cool, she's backing me, but she shouldn't back me. She mustn't have that responsibility to reason why she's in love with me from a question. Yes, I was fat, and at that time I was ugly inside and out in terms of my health. And yeah, definitely it puts massive strain on a person when you look at us both as in a relationship. She's so much smaller than I am, she's so petite, and I'm so much bigger, but I was too big. It wasn't the, how do I say it, Beauty and the Beast type thing. It was more, you could say, Beauty and Shrek type thing. And I felt like that, you know. It wasn't Dan's the big bear, it's now becoming a real problem. And I think, you know, it was cool being the, you know, that Beauty and the Beast type of relationship, but you didn't really feel it in the latter stages. I mean, when I was 110, yes, okay, cool, I was still carrying it well, I was carrying the weight well, you know, I was wearing smaller clothing, I could fit into certain things still. But pushing 3-4 XL shirts, and then my pants were almost 46 centimeters wide. Shopping became difficult, relationship became difficult, and it was just hiding behind everything, you know, not taking myself accountable, and not on a daily basis mixing myself with the right people in terms of the health part, not the other parts and stuff like that in terms of your life.